Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 4. Hope you all had a great weekend. Before we get started, I'd like to provide just a few updates. First, as we had a great discussion in class last week, thank you all for your participation. Especially the discussion went really well when we were talking about the differences in health scores from state to state. I think you saw some significant differences, and a lot of the differences were driven from personal behaviors. I hope that was kind of illuminating for people. Please let us know if there are additional questions we didn't get to during the time. A lot of the questions came at the end of class, so if there are any additional questions, please send us a note and we'll be happy to address them. So one of the questions that came up just after class was, what's the impact of the high deductibles on the healthcare plans? And the answer at this point remains to be seen because the Accountable Care Act and particularly many of the companies that have high deductibles, those impacts are now just being seen. However, they did a research study recently on follow-up for tests on those people that have high deductible plans and those that do not. And people that have high deductible plans are 50% less likely to get the follow-up tests that were recommended. So if you think about the impact of that, and the issues around delayed and misdiagnosis, that's pretty significant. So this week we're going to be talking about HSM Flipgrids again, and they'll be separated by groups this time. So hopefully that'll be easier. Group 1 and Group 2 will be separate, and there'll be separate Flipgrids for each. Please let us know if you encounter any issues with that. We hope that will make this process easier. Another course Q&A that came up was you have a forum moderator and you have discussion groups, right? So the week that you're a moderator, you're going to get a 0 for discussion, obviously, because you're the moderator and other people are having the discussion. But there are 14 modules in the group forums, and so what we do is we take the best 13 out of 14. So the 0 that's assigned disappears at the end. So no worries about that. But that was a good question that came up. Thank you for raising that issue. And that shouldn't be a problem as we go forward. Also wanted to mention that there's going to be guest speakers coming up over the next few weeks. So that those speakers will be in the beginning of class. So hopefully that will introduce some other folks into the discussion, and there'll be some healthcare providers providing their context on some of the things that we'll be discussing in class that week. Let's see. So if there are any other issues or one of the things that we'd like is to see us in class if you have questions. What we'd like to do is get feedback, the course feedback. So either see us in class or use the Moodle site for that feedback. Okay? So this week we are going to be discussing in more detail the myriad of providers who provide care in our healthcare systems. So during class, I think you might remember I used the analogy of a spider web, as our systems are connected in a variety of ways. When you think about these providers, the healthcare providers, they come from all sorts of places, whether it's clinics, hospitals, long-term care settings. So there's a variety of things that will ultimately impact you as you go forward, and just kind of remember that as we go forward. So not only are there docs, there's nurses, mid-level providers, CNAs, and others. But to enable the system to run, there's significant infrastructure, as you can imagine. There's people in billing, finance, HR, building and grounds, pharmacy, labs, and also many other areas. We'll be learning about many of the people who influence outcomes in healthcare and gain some perspective on the complexity of the workforce, including the variety of people and also what impacts supply and demand have on trying to find the right people in the system. You also need to compare the state rankings in a variety of dimensions this week, including outcome measures, clinical care environments, and understand the impact personal behaviors have on those outcomes. So please check during the week for any posts and announcements. Also review the study notes and read chapter 4 of the textbook. There are 4 articles this week. Why doctors are sick of medicine, which is kind of an interesting topic. Talks about the stresses that physicians are under and things tools that they're currently using to address that. Nursing shortages, the roles of mid-level providers. There's also an MBI burnout tool that was developed by Mayo that's in one of the readings, and it's kind of interesting because this tool is used across the country by healthcare institutions, and it provides scores related to burnout that are kind of interesting. Also in the article about nursing, it talks about 20% of nurses quit after the first year, which is a major problem, and it exacerbates the nursing shortage problem. So with this research, they're implementing some fixes to that. So one of the things that they're doing for nurses is providing more training, helping them to understand some of the issues, working with nursing students, because a lot of times what happens is new students work the night shift and other shifts. So really trying to help them to understand the rigors of healthcare and working with them and being more flexible about timing, where they want to be in the system, and that sort of thing. Another thing that's helping is mentoring that they're using in institutions. So one nurse will be sort of a sponsor or mentor for others. That kind of helps. You'll also note in the discussion journal form this week, instructions are contained in the tool that'll help you to navigate. So that would be a suggestion too, is make sure you read the instructions carefully, and I think that'll help you to use these tools. Finally, this week there's another Flipgrid, as I mentioned earlier. Please follow the instructions and complete this. We still have a few that we don't have record of completing Chapter 1 Flipgrids. Please check the grades, and if you're not receiving credit and did one, please let us know where we can find it. Otherwise, please complete the assignment for the first week also, because the Flipgrids kind of build on one another. Also, finally, please let us know if you have questions or need assistance. Group 1, please contact Sue or Mel, and Group 2, Carrie or me. Good luck with the assignments and have a great week. And again, we're here to help. Thanks very much.